So you've read ACOTAR and you've read Fourth Wing. So what do you read next to fill the void? I've got you. If you're looking for a very long series that's super underrated and honestly I think is a hidden gem, I would go with the Shadow Realm series by Brenda K. Davies. This is an entirely self-published series and it is a romantasy, and it manages to get every single type of mythical creature and all of that good stuff all in one book, and it all takes place after a war. And so we get to see these characters trying to deal with the aftermath of a war. Well, they're also kind of falling in love with each other. So we have our main guy, Cole, and he is Dark Fae. And he and his kind of like Fae area end up inviting a bunch of people to kind of celebrate the end of the war. And so Lexi, our main character, who's half vampire, is like, okay, I guess I'm gonna show up. I've never been to the Shadow Realms before, and she and Cole meet and sparks instantly fly. And so these two are falling for each other, but there's also a lot of challenges that come with everything that's happened at the end of the war, the people who won, the Lord, who is a very, very twisted man, and the absence of a throne, because in this book, if the rightful person does not sit in the throne, which this species has been wiped out, then what happens is anybody who takes the throne slowly loses their mind. And so they're trying to figure out, how can we get the right person on the throne, because they're guaranteed to lose their mind because we kind of annihilated every single one of that species that was allowed to be there. So it is a very, very good series. It is spicy and it really, really grips you. Because it is self-published, there are a few typos in it, which is completely fine, and it does kind of just throw you right into the story, which personally I don't mind. So this is such an underrated series. It has really good plot twists. It's really oddly violent at times, and the tension between the characters and the other kind of like side characters is really, really good. So yeah, this is so underrated. I definitely recommend this series. If you're looking for a story that's just one book, but still has that romantasy, magical, spicy level that ACOTAR and Fourth Wing had, look no further than Throne of the Fallen by Kerri Maniscalco. This book, oh my goodness. The spice in this book is so good. I'm telling you, it's so good. It is a bit on the bigger side, but it is just one book. It does kind of connect with the universe of the Princes of Sin that Kerri Maniscalco has been writing. And so you don't have to read any of those in order, which is great because I never have gotten around to those ones, but I absolutely adore this book. Basically, it follows along Prince Envy and a woman named Camilla. And Camilla is a very well-renowned artist. And so Prince Envy, there's like this threat in his realm, and he basically needs to kind of play this game to try to win it back. It's like a gamble, and he has to do all of these different tasks, as do a bunch of other people. And so he ends up getting involved with Camilla to paint something counterfeit for this game, and they have instant tension, and they're just like, wow, like, wow, this book, it's one of those books that makes you blush because it's just like so good and intimate. And it's of course magical. The story is good, the pacing is good, and you just grow to love these characters. So honestly, this one was such a fun ride. I really enjoyed it, and I feel like I recommend it to every person who has not read this one before. This is definitely my favorite of Kerri Maniscalco's work. I have read her Stalk and Jack the Ripper series, as well as the kind of sequel to this one, which personally I didn't really like that one, but this one, really, really good, especially if you're looking for just one book. If you're looking for a duology that honestly is going to rip your heart and soul out and has the best, it has the best tension I have ever read in any book, to be honest. Like, you could cut the air with scissors with this book. You need like industrial scissors, like, and it's so good, and you probably already know it. Saga of the Unfated by Danielle L. Jensen. These books are so good. They are Nordic inspired, and they basically follow along characters who are blessed by gods. And what that means is that they have a little bit of drop of god or goddess in them, which allows them to wield powers. And so like if you're blessed by Odin, you have a certain power. If you're blessed by a different god or goddess, you have that power. And so our main character, Freya, is blessed by a goddess, and she is a shield maiden. And what that means is that she can cast this super, super powerful shield, and that's related to a prophecy that this kind of like, this Jarl guy named Snorri heard this prophecy about if he's to become kin, then he needs to find the shield maiden. And so him and his son end up kind of seeing these characters, and then they witness her use that shield, and she kind of gets roped in with this. The thing though is that she and the son have such incredible tension that it will blow your mind, and what makes it even juicier is that she is forced to marry this guy's father. And it is so good. This book has incredible feminine rage. It's so good. Some people don't like Freya's character, but honestly, to me, she's really great because she's just so angry at her circumstances because she's always been controlled, never allowed to make her own decisions throughout both of these books. And so you see how it affects her, but it's also just magical. It's weaved in with Norse mythology, and it's so good. I definitely recommend these two books. If you're looking for a much longer series that's very well known, and if you haven't read it, then I definitely recommend one of my favorite series of all time, which is the From Blood and Ash and From Flesh and Fire series by Jennifer L. Armentrout. These books are great. Think of them as like A Court of Thorns and Roses, but instead of fae, they're kind of like vampires, is the best way to put it. And it basically follows along, well, there's like the past, and then there's like the current, and they all end up connected. But for the sake of this video, I don't want to spoil anything, so I'm just going to go with the current, which is From Blood and Ash, whereas From Flesh and Fire is like the before the events of From Blood and Ash. There's a read in order. It's amazing, highly recommend it. But when we talk about this book, From Blood and Ash, in my opinion, is actually, this is the weakest one in the series. But the entire series itself is good, and this is not by no means saying this book is bad, just saying it just gets better. And so what I really love about this series is that it follows along our main character Poppy, and she has basically been raised as this like maiden, and she's never allowed to show her face, never allowed to wear anything except this like super white outfit. She's supposed to be pure and like gentle and kind and like perfect and everything, and so she's not allowed to talk to people aren't allowed to talk to her, so she is incredibly isolated since birth, pretty much, because she has been chosen. And so because she has a lack of control, she and this guy named Vincent, who's basically like a father figure for her, they actually trained since she was like very young, so she's really good at fighting, and she kind of goes out and tries to help people who have been hit with this disease that's going around. And so this is kind of her story, and throughout that, there ends up being this soldier guy, Hawk, and he is such a temptation to her because like she's never really kissed anybody, she's never been with anybody, she's never talked to anybody really, and like if she does talk to people, she gets in trouble. And so this soldier guy is basically assigned to take care of her, and she's trying not to fall for him, and he's trying not to fall for her, and it's really good. And the world expands so much more than just like with Poppy's life. There is gods and goddesses and magic and prophecies, and just there is so much in this series. I literally scream. I scream. This is one of those series that I love it so much that if I could take my brain out, wash out all memories of this entire journey just so I could reread it again, I certainly would. It is really good. I am obsessed, and the final book is coming out this year if it isn't pushed again. I'm still sad about that. But yeah, it is so well done, so well thought out. The plot twists are great, and yeah, it just gets better and better. And we haven't talked about dragons enough. We talked about Fourth Wing. I really love that series, and you're probably looking for some kind of cure for the dragons in your life. A Day of Fallen Night and The Priory of the Orange Tree, which is currently on loan to one of my friends, by Samantha Shannon, will be your fix. It will be your fix. Has dragons, and it's basically a really well developed world with epic feminist kind of like fantasy vibes weaved into it. And so this is actually the prequel to The Priory of the Orange Tree, which I would suggest you read that one first and then read this one. So not going to spoil it too much, but let's just say that this is a very well crafted world with dragons that you'll be obsessed with. Yeah, characters you'll fall in love with, world building that's like mind blowing, and just a lot of really cool things that happen is the best way I can describe this without like, I don't want to spoil it to you, but there's like this priory, and there's like these people who kind of tend to it, and you have to, women from a certain bloodline need to get married and have children to protect basically the world from the nameless one. The prequel here talks all about like why they have to do that, and then Prior of the Orange Tree kind of shows you the characters who have been doing this for so long. And that's as much as I can say about this without spoiling it. These are both massive, massive books, but if you want your dragon fix and you love a good feminist story, this one and this one. And speaking of dragons, I have another one for you. Right now there's only one book available in the series, but their next one, the second one, comes out in October if the publishing date stays where it should be. And that is When the Moon Hatched by Sarah A. Parker. This is a big book, but it does not feel like a big book. I absolutely devoured this book. It is so, so good. It basically follows along our main character, Ravi. And she is an assassin, and she ends up getting caught and imprisoned. But, happenstance, this man named Khan, who has basically just been running away from the pain inside because he lost his wife, he sees her and he's like, there's something about her that's like telling me I need to basically take her with me and get to know her and learn about her story and stuff. But the thing with Ravi is that she completely lost her memories. And so you kind of follow along these two characters as they're kind of healing with each other because they both had big losses in their lives, and there are dragons, and there's different types of dragons, and like basically in this world the dragons were like, okay, I'm tired of you humans, all you do is fight, so we're going to basically fly up into the sky and become big moons. But now the moons, after so many centuries, have started to fall, and they're like, what does this mean? Like, are the dragons, they just, what's going to happen? What's going on? And so there are still dragons in the series, but it's the ones that are falling from the sky that everyone's kind of like, that's not normal. What is going on? And that's as much as I can say, but this book ends on an incredible cliffhanger, and I really, really like the series. I think it's great, and it's good. It's just good. Another one that I'd recommend that actually only has one book available at the moment. We don't know when the second one will come out, but I definitely enjoyed Silver Elite by Dani Francis. It's kind of like if Red Queen and Red Rising and Hunger Games kind of like went all together, if that makes sense, but it's a romantasy. So this is a dystopian romantasy that follows along our main character, Ren. And so Ren is a psychic, and in this world, psychics, they're bad because there was a nuclear fallout that happened, and then people became, not everybody, but a lot of people became psychic, and psychics were born. And they enslaved all the like non-psychic people, and then the non-psychic people rebelled and took over the psychic people. So now it's the psychic people who are basically being repressed. And so the psychic people are kind of hiding because they don't want people to know like that they're psychic. So our main character Ren is a psychic, and she's also really, really good at like long range shooting, and that kind of attracts the attention of the captain of the guards, Cross, and he sees her and he actually ends up getting her drafted into the Silver Block. And Silver Block is basically the people who are training to become Silver Elite, which is just like the best of the best, and their job is to hunt and eliminate psychic people. And so Ren has been forcibly drafted into this military regime that's about hunting people who are just like her. And so she's working with the rebellion to try to give them the information about what's happening. And she's also at the same time like doesn't want to be there because it's super dangerous for her. So yeah, while she's in there, of course, Captain of the Guards is keeping an eye on her, and they're really attracted to each other. And that's all I'll say about this book. It was honestly really, really good. I had such a good time with it, and I'm really excited for the second book. So yeah, if you're looking for some kind of dystopian romantasy fix, I know it's a little bit different than ACOTAR and Fourth Wing, but it's a little bit more on the Fourth Wing end with the military aspect of it. Next up, we're going to talk about some really good young adult fiction that has that romantasy vibe that honestly, some of these books surprise me that they're young adult because they can get away with some good spice. And so the first one that I want to talk about is, of course, the Crimson Moth duology by Kristen Ciccarelli. This series, I did not expect to love it as much as I did. I thought it was going to be overhyped because everyone's like, oh, like Heartless Hunter, it's so good, it's amazing, it's amazing. And then sometimes it turns out like they aren't as good, but this one definitely deserves the hype, and the second one as well. This is a really good completed duology, and it basically follows along a witch named Rune and a witch hunter named Gideon. And these two, it is such a good enemies to lovers story because Gideon is kind of getting, like, he's kind of realizing like, there's something suspicious about Rune because her ships that she kind of owns had been caught basically like with witch symbols on them, and him being like a witch hunter, he's like, okay, I need to investigate her. And she realizes that he's onto her, and so she's like, okay, I need to kind of throw him off the trail. And so they pretend to court each other. That's right, this is a fake dating enemies to lovers story, which is like one of my favorite tropes of all time, if not my favorite trope of all time. There's also a one bed scene in the second book, just saying. All my favorite things. And it follows these two as they're pretending to court each other to try to figure out if she's a witch and to try to get him off the trail and make him think that she's not a witch. And so obviously as it goes, they like start to fall for each other and they actually get to know each other, and it is so good. Oh, the trauma that Gideon has gone through in both of these books is incredible. And for Rune as well, oh my goodness, has she gone through some trauma, my friends. It is good. It is good. This is young adult, but I don't know how because there's some good scenes in these books, if you get what I mean. Yeah, these are really, really good. Definitely recommend. Next up, I would highly, highly recommend the Once Upon a Broken Heart trilogy, which, okay, before I recommend it, I need to make it very clear that I do not like the last book. I do not like the way it ended, anything like that, but I still recommend the series nonetheless just because of the feels and the pain, and my most favorite male love is in this book, Jax. The first two books, incredible. Third book, I honestly pretend it didn't happen, and I'm hoping there's a fourth to clear up all the loose ends and stuff. But nonetheless, I think about this trilogy all the time because I love Evangeline and I am so in love with Jax. He's so precious and amazing, and I know he's bad, but like I don't care. But this book basically follows along Evangeline Fox, and she is, think you're kind of like your soft princessy, believes in true love and happily ever afters. I love that about her. And so what happens is that she's in love with this guy, but then he ends up getting engaged to somebody else despite being with her, and she's like, what is going on? And so she goes to Jax, who is basically the Prince of Hearts, to basically kind of call on his like powers, because he's kind of like a god, and basically stop the wedding. But then he's kind of a trickster. I love him so much. He's kind of a trickster, and she ends up kind of falling into this bargain with him, and they keep on crossing paths. She has to like do certain things to kind of fix the bargain and stopping the wedding, like all of this stuff. I don't want to spoil it. It's so good though, and it has like the magicalness that if you were like a kid who really enjoyed Disney and you have like that Disney feel, and you know when you watch the movies you feel like warm and cozy and just like you just feel good. These books managed to bring that because of Stephane Garber's writing. It is so good and whimsical and magical, and you just fall in love with these characters and this story. And if you're like me, you fall in love with the bad boy Jax, who forever has a place in my heart. I love him dearly. But yeah, this is a really fun series. So good, despite the last book not being that good. But yeah, you should read it. And if you haven't read it on the young adult end, I would for sure recommend the Shadow and Bone trilogy. This series is really good, less so on the romance though, because the love interest is garbage and I hate him. But the story itself really gets you into that kind of romancy, fantasy kind of world with all the glitz and the glam and also like the danger that comes with it. And so it follows along our main character, Alina Starkov, and she is orphaned. And so she has spent her entire life just in the orphanage, and then she's a map maker, but some events ensue, and it turns out that she actually has a really rare kind of like light power. And what's really important about this is that this world, there's like this whole area that's pure darkness with all these like horrible creatures inside them that like eat people. And so with her light powers, she can basically clear the way and people are able to go through this area safely. And so this means that she's actually a Grisha. And so Grisha are in this world basically like people with magical powers. And so she ends up basically being like kind of the chosen one, who she doesn't actually want to be the chosen one. She's kind of worshipped in a lot of ways, and she gains the attention of this Darkland guy who basically wants to help amplify her powers. And so they spend a lot of time together, and honestly, like, I still really wish, like, honestly, I love them together. There's, I don't care what people say. Yeah, better than Mal. But yeah, that's all I'll say about this. And actually, one more thing I will say is that I read the second book in a day. Yeah, that's how good it is. It's definitely like less so on the romance end though, more on just like the fantasy adventure, but it has such a fun universe and characters and magic that you'll just fall in love with. And there's prequels and there's sequels and there's a bunch of really good stuff in this entire universe. So if you haven't read Leigh Bardugo's series, I definitely recommend start with this one. And last but certainly not least, because I love this duology by Rebecca Ross, and it's the Divine Rivals duology. There's Divine Rivals and Ruthless Vows. And this is another one of those books that was really, really hyped to the point where I was really unsure if I actually wanted to read it because I didn't want to get disappointed, but I was not disappointed. I'm so happy that I read these. I think I read it almost 2 years ago, a year and a half-ish at this point, and I still think about it constantly. Oh, both of these books, I love them so much. Basically follows along our main character, Iris. And so the gods are at war. And what's really cool about this is that Iris is a journalist. And so instead of her actually being in active combat and actually fighting in wars or fighting with gods, she's actually reporting on it, which I think is a really cool take, because oftentimes in fantasy, the characters are right in the thick of it, but she is not, and she never really is in the entire series. And so I think that that's really cool because it's different and you get to see kind of her perspective as she's writing about this war that's happening. Her brother's been drafted to fight in this war, and her rival is just driving her up the wall. And her rival is this man named Roman, who is always one up in her. And she's like, I'm better than him. Like, he's always taking my thunder, like this kind of stuff. And so one day she's writing a letter to her brother, but she doesn't know where he is. And so what she does with her typewriter is she just throws the letter into her closet and boom, it disappears, and then she gets a reply. But it's not from her brother, it's from somebody that she doesn't know. But she actually does know them, she just doesn't know she knows them. The person is Roman, her rival, and so he knows it's Iris, but Iris doesn't know it's him. And so they basically talk to each other about their deepest, darkest fears, their dreams, their desires, like everything under the sun. And obviously, like, they start to fall for each other. But like, Roman knows it's Iris. Iris doesn't know it's Roman. Iris hates Roman in real life. And so it's such a good dynamic, especially when it's like, okay, Iris is going to be sent out to like report on the front lines, and Roman follows her. And she's like, oh, this guy, he won't leave me alone. He's my rival. I hate him. But then it's actually because he likes her. And it's so cute, and I love it. So this book follows Iris. This one follows Roman, and I'm just thinking about the ending of like how the first book ended, and I have chills. It's super, super good. I love these books. They're not heavy on the spice at all, being like a bit younger of the YA end, like probably like 15 or younger, but honestly they're so, so good that you don't even really notice that there's no spice. But maybe you don't like spice, so these would be really, really great if you don't like spice. So yeah, I love these so, so much. These live rent free in my head. I love these as much as I love like Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, and I love Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. So yeah, those are the books that I would recommend if you have not read any of those already, and if you liked ACOTAR and Fourth Wing, definitely check these books out if you haven't already, and let me know, what would you add to this list? Because I want to add it to my list. And if you enjoyed this video and you found it useful, definitely hit the like button. And if you haven't already, definitely hit the subscribe button and turn on the bell notification. That way you get notified anytime a new video comes out. Also, really cool news for you is that if you've ever wanted to be part of an exclusive community with behind the scenes content, you can vote in polls, get early access to videos, and much, much more, you actually can by becoming a member of my channel. Anytime someone becomes a member, there are 3 different tiers. Doesn't matter which tier you pick, they all have really cool exclusive benefits, and it all goes directly toward me getting more books that we can read together on this channel, talk about, review, go in depth, and I can also get sprayed edges, which is really cool because those books are really expensive, but you guys have been helping me out with that. So yeah, if that's interesting to you, all the information for this is in the description to this video. And so with that, I'm going to wish you warm wishes and fish kisses, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!